AITA for agreeing to break up after she brought a coworker home at 2 a.m.? I am 33 years old and had been with Megan, who is 29, for almost 4 years. For the last 2 years, we had lived together in my 3-bedroom townhouse in the suburbs. Until 3 months ago, everything was pretty stable. We were not a perfect couple, of course, but we were doing well. In fact, I had already started looking at engagement rings. I saw myself taking the next step. Then Justin showed up. He started working at her marketing firm. At first, I did not think much of it. According to her, he was excellent with the design software and was helping her a lot with presentations. I thought that was great. Later, she mentioned they had gone to lunch to talk about the Henderson account. Fine. Then, that he would give her a ride home because my car was in the shop. I did not say anything either. But 3 weeks ago, I received a text from her at 11:47 p.m. We are working late on the presentation. Justin is giving me a ride home. She walked in at 1:23 a.m. Her hair was a bit messy and her makeup was smudged. She told me that after work they had gone to get something to eat because they were starving. I listened to her. I did not argue. 2 weeks ago, something similar happened. A text at 10:15 p.m., an emergency with a client. That time she arrived at 1:51 a.m. She was giggly and too relaxed. You could tell she had been drinking. According to her, they needed to decompress because the client had been difficult. That night, I could not stay quiet. I asked her directly, "Megan, why are you coming home at 2 in the morning with another man?" She looked at me like I was the problem. "Justin is just a coworker. We were working." God, you are so paranoid. Last Friday it happened for the 3rd time. The text arrived at 11:30 p.m. Dinner with the client ran late. Justin is giving me a ride. I sat on the couch and waited. At 2:17 a.m., I saw the headlights illuminate the driveway. I peeked out the window. They stayed in the car for another 8 minutes talking and laughing. 8 minutes that felt like an eternity. Finally, she came in. She saw me sitting on the couch. "Are you still awake?" "Yes," I answered. "Working late again." She took off her heels with a sigh. "Yes. The Carmichael presentation is killing us, but we nailed it today." I stared at her. "This is the 3rd time Justin has brought you home after midnight." Her expression changed instantly. "Here we go again. You are being jealous and controlling. Justin is my coworker. We work together. Sometimes that means long nights. It is not my fault that you feel insecure." "I am not insecure," I told her. "I am just pointing out a pattern." "This is why I do not tell you things," she retorted. "You make everything uncomfortable. He is just a friend." At that moment, I observed her closely. I did not just listen to her. I really observed her, her defensive attitude, how quickly she turned my concern into my flaw, that way of getting angry to deflect the conversation. So, instead of arguing, I told her calmly, "You are probably right. I am too jealous." She blinked, surprised that I did not fight back. "Well, I am glad you see it. I am exhausted. I am going to take a shower." She went up the stairs, and I heard the water running. That was when I made a decision. The townhouse has 3 bedrooms, the master bedroom, a guest room, and my home office. The guest room had always been just that, an extra space with a decent bed, a dresser, and an empty closet. Over the next hour, I moved all her clothes from our closet to the one in the guest room. I hung them up neatly. I moved her toiletries from our bathroom to the guest bathroom. I moved her jewelry box, her books, her chargers, her laptop sleeve, her makeup, her hair products. I changed the sheets on the guest bed and left clean towels. At 3:45 a.m., the master bedroom had no trace of Megan left. Our shared space had returned to being solely mine. I got into my bed and set my alarm for 6:30, as always. The next morning I woke up before it went off. I made coffee and toast and sat at the kitchen table like it was any normal Saturday. Megan came down around 7:15 in her robe with her hair still damp from the shower the night before. She took her favorite mug out of the cabinet. "Good morning," she said, less hostile than the night before. "Good morning." She poured herself coffee. She added oat milk and sugar. When she turned toward the table, she froze. "Why are there boxes in the hallway?" I looked up from my phone. "They are yours." I did not want to leave them in the guest room. It might get a bit cramped. She stood there with her mug suspended in the air. "What? Your things?" I moved them to the guest room. "I think you will be more comfortable there." The mug did not fall to the floor, but it slipped enough that hot coffee spilled on her hand and her robe. She let out a gasp and slammed the mug onto the counter. What on earth did you do? Move my things while I was sleeping. You were in the shower, actually, I answered calmly. But yes. Her face went from surprise to confusion and then to anger. This is crazy. You cannot just do this. I live here. I am allowed to reorganize my space, I replied. Your space? This is our home. I took a sip of coffee before answering. It is ours because I let you live here. But my name is on the deed. I paid the down payment, and I pay the mortgage. We have lived together for 2 years as my girlfriend, the same one who says I am too jealous for having basic concerns. So I thought, why share a room with someone who considers me controlling? She grabbed a paper towel and wiped her hand and her robe. This is ridiculous. Are you being petty? Maybe, or maybe I am being practical. If you want to come home at 2 in the morning with another man and have me not ask questions, perfect. But then you can sleep in the guest room. I am not sleeping in there. Then the couch is an option. Or you can stay at Justin's place, since you guys spend so much time together. Her eyes widened. This is all about Justin. I looked directly at her. You tell me, Megan. 3 times after midnight with the same man you are suddenly inseparable from. We work together. I nodded slowly. Yes, you have repeated that several times already. That does not explain why you come home at 2 in the morning, I told her calmly. He is being nice. He brings me home. Would you rather come get me? I stared at her. My car has been in the shop for 3 weeks, she answered quickly. Try again, I sighed. The check engine light came on. Then take it to the mechanic. It has been 3 weeks, Megan. I have been busy. I nodded slowly. Too busy to fix your car, but not too busy to have Justin drive you around at all hours. She crossed her arms. You are twisting all this. No, I am asking questions. And if really nothing is going on, they should not be so hard to answer. Nothing is going on. Perfect, I answered. Then you will have no problem sleeping in the guest room until I stop being so jealous and controlling. She held my gaze. Are you serious? Completely. This is emotional abuse. I could not help but laugh. Moving your things to another room inside a townhouse that is mine is emotional abuse. That is your argument. You are punishing me for having a friend. I am setting boundaries. You made it clear that my concerns do not matter, so I adjusted my living arrangement accordingly. She picked up her phone from the counter. I'm going to call someone about this. Go ahead. Do you want me to finish packing what is left in the bathroom? She stormed up the stairs, stomping her feet. I heard her slam the door to the guest room. 2 days later, the entire Saturday, Megan did not leave the guest room. I heard her talking on the phone several times. I do not know with whom, nor did I ask. On Sunday morning she came down, showered, got dressed, and announced she was going to her sister's house to think. Take your time, I told her. She did not come back that night. On Monday afternoon I received a call from her sister, Ashley. Brandon, what is going on between you and Megan? Hi, Ashley. Did not she tell you? She says you kicked her out of your bedroom and that you are holding her things practically hostage. I moved her belongings to the guest room because I am tired of her coming home at 2 in the morning with her coworker Justin and then making me feel like I am the problem. Silence. So the Justin thing is true. She knows he exists, but 3 times after midnight, in 3 weeks, always with him, always working, and when I bring it up, I am the paranoid controlling one. More silence. That sounds off, right? I continued, so I gave her some space. The guest room has everything she needs. Well, that is pretty extreme, maybe. But I own the townhouse, Ashley. She is not on the deed or on any lease. She can stay in the guest room or she can leave. Those are the options. She says you are trying to control her by giving her her own room. That is not control. That is independence. Ashley sighed. Maybe you guys should talk. I tried. She called me jealous. So we have talked enough. On Tuesday, Megan came back. She did not speak a word to me. She went straight to the guest room. Perfect. On Wednesday, I got home from work and saw a car I knew too well in my driveway, Justin's. I walked in. There they were in my living room, sitting on my couch, with papers scattered across my coffee table. Brandon, Megan said, jumping up. We are working on the Henderson account. The presentation is on Friday. I looked at Justin. Get out. He frowned. Excuse me. You heard me. Pack up your things, get off my couch, and get out of my house. Dude, we are working. I do not care. This is my house. You are not welcome here. Megan stepped between us. Brandon, do not be ridiculous. Then I looked at Justin. You have 60 seconds. Then I am calling the police. Are you crazy? Megan yelled. Maybe. But that does not change the fact that this is my property. Justin tried to stand his ground. You are being very childish about this, bro. 30 seconds. He looked at Megan. She seemed at a loss for what to do. Finally, he gathered his papers and shoved them into his bag. This is ridiculous, he muttered as he walked past me. I followed him to the door and locked it behind him. Megan was furious. What is wrong with you? Did you bring him to my house to work when you have an office? We needed a quiet place. The office has meeting rooms. They were booked. I looked directly at her. Megan, stop. You are not that naive. You cannot expect me to believe all this. The late nights, the car rides, the defensive attitude, and now bringing him here. Nothing is going on. Then prove it. Show me your phone. She went pale. What? Your messages with Justin. If it is just work, there will not be a problem. I will apologize right now. That is an invasion of my privacy. You are in my house. He picks you up at 2 in the morning. You bring him into my living room. I think I have the right to know what is going on. She clutched her phone. No. I nodded. Then we are done. Done because I will not show you my phone. No. Done because you lied to me, disrespected me in my own house, and chose Justin over addressing my concerns. You cannot do this. Watch me. You have until Sunday to get all your things out. After that, I am changing the locks. You cannot kick me out. Yes, I can. You are not on any lease. You lived here as my girlfriend, but you are no longer my girlfriend. That is illegal. It is not. But call a lawyer if you want. They will confirm that I can ask someone who is not on the lease to leave my property. She stood there with the phone in her hands and tears falling down her face. Sunday, Megan. Decide where you are going to go. A week later, she was still here. She did not leave on Sunday or Monday. On Tuesday morning, I woke up and discovered she was still settled in the guest room. So I sent her a text. Are you still here? She replied almost instantly. I have nowhere to go. That is not my problem. You have until tonight. She came out of the guest room around 8, just as I was getting ready for work. Brandon, please, can we talk? There is nothing to talk about. I made a mistake. Justin and I got too close, but nothing happened. I stared at her. Something happened. Maybe not physically, but emotionally, yes. And every time I tried to talk about it, you defended him instead of me. I will cut him off. I will ask for a department transfer. It does not matter anymore. I took a deep breath before continuing. You called me jealous and controlling for noticing that my girlfriend was spending more time with another man than with me. You made me feel like I was crazy. You brought him into my house. You refused to show me your phone. Even if nothing physical happened, the disrespect was real. And that is enough. She looked at me with glassy eyes. So 4 years just end like this. I did not end them. You ended them when you chose Justin. I am just making it official. I went to work. Around noon, I received a call from an unknown number. I answered thinking it was work-related. Brandon, it is Justin. I was about to hang up. What do you want? Megan is devastated. You are being too hard. She asked me to call you. I let out a little laugh. Justin, let me make something clear to you. You decided to get involved with a woman who was in a relationship. She allowed it. That is on both of you. You did not just make a mistake, and now you are facing the consequences. There was an awkward silence. What does that mean? It means I am going to send some interesting screenshots to your human resources department. I understand your company has strict policies on workplace relationships. Dead silence. That is what I thought. Have a good day. I hung up. I am not going to lie, it felt pretty good. At 6 p.m., Megan was gone. The guest room was empty. On the counter, she left a note. You are cruel. I hope you are happy ruining my life. I threw it in the trash. On Thursday, Ashley called. Brandon, Megan is with me. She is devastated. I feel sorry for her, but it was her choice. She says you are going to report Justin. I already did. That is vindictive. Those are not consequences. You are going to ruin his career. He helped destroy my relationship. Now let him take his share of the blame. Brandon, this is not you. Apparently it is. I hung up. On Friday afternoon, I got a text from an unsaved number. It was Justin. I got suspended pending an investigation. You cost me my job. I hope you are proud. I replied, you cost me my relationship. We are even. On Saturday morning, the doorbell rang. I opened the door and there were Megan, her sister Ashley, and her mother, Diane. Diane started without even saying hello. What you did to my daughter is horrible. Good morning to you too. She made a mistake. Everyone deserves forgiveness. Maybe, but that does not mean I have to grant it. You reported Justin. I reported a possible violation of internal policy. What the company does with that is their business. Megan stepped forward. He got fired. He is talking about suing you. For telling the truth? You are destroying lives. I shook my head. No, you guys did that yourselves. I just stopped pretending everything was fine. Ashley intervened. You kept some of her things. If she forgot anything, have her send me a list and I will pack it up. But I am not going to argue about this on my doorstep. Diane stepped closer. You are going to give everything back to her. You are going to apologize and you are going to fix this. I looked at her calmly. Megan, get your mother off my property before I call the police. You would not dare, Diane said. I pulled out my phone. Try me. Ashley grabbed her mother's arm. Mom, let us go. They left. Before leaving, Megan turned to me. I loved you. Past tense, I replied. Understood. 3 weeks later, Justin was officially fired. Megan was moved to another team to avoid internal conflicts. From what mutual friends say, she is miserable. Ashley called me last week. Justin's girlfriend found out about everything. I stayed silent. He had a girlfriend? Yes, they had been together for about 6 months. She ended things publicly on social media and tagged Megan in the post. I could not help but laugh. So he had been involved with his girlfriend while getting too close to Megan, and Megan had been getting too close to him while with me. Perfect symmetry. Brandon, you sound bitter, Ashley said. I am not. I am satisfied. They deserved each other, and now they have exactly what they earned. Megan thought you were going to propose. That hit me a little. I was going to before Justin showed up. She feels terrible about that. Great. Tell her I thank her for saving me $50,000 on a ring and a wedding. The following Tuesday, I received a certified letter from Megan's lawyer. She was demanding money for cohabitation contributions and emotional distress. I showed it to my lawyer. He laughed. You are not married. There is no common law marriage in this state. She lived there voluntarily without paying rent. She has no legal standing. So my lawyer formally replied that her claim was baseless and that any further attempt at harassment would result in a restraining order. I never heard back. Yesterday at the grocery store, a coworker of Megan's recognized me from the holiday party. You are Brandon, right? Megan's ex. Yes. I just want you to know that we all knew something was going on between her and Justin. It was too obvious. It was not your fault. That gave me some peace. Thank you. Besides, Justin was inappropriate. He crossed lines with several women in the office. I smiled. Good riddance. And being honest, hearing that made me feel better than I expected. As for me, I am fine. I am not euphoric or devastated. I am just fine. Stable. The townhouse sometimes feels bigger than it really is. There are moments when the silence is a bit heavy. I miss having someone around, that is true, but I do not miss the manipulation. I do not miss that awful anxiety when the clock hit 2 in the morning and I stared at the ceiling waiting to hear the door. And I definitely do not miss being made to feel crazy for noticing warning signs that were right in front of my eyes. My friend Ben has been staying over some weekends. We watch sports, open some beers, and talk about anything but feelings, and honestly, that is good for me. Last week my mom called. I heard what happened with Megan. Are you okay? I am recovering, I told her. She was not right for you anyway. Too frivolous. I laughed a little. You never liked her much. I liked her fine until she started making you doubt yourself. That is when I knew something was not right. I guess mothers have that special radar. I have re-downloaded dating apps. I am not looking for anything serious or swiping like crazy. I am just looking, seeing what is out there. No pressure, no rush. Last week I also changed the locks. New deadbolt, new handles. It cost me $180 and honestly, it has been the best investment for my peace of mind. Megan left some things in the hall closet, a couple of winter coats and a box of books. I sent her a text with a clear list and told her she had until the end of the month to pick them up or I would donate them. She replied that she would send Ashley. Perfect. I do not need to see her again. If I am honest with myself, there were signs earlier. She started dressing up more for work. Suddenly, she was interested in craft cocktails that Justin had coincidentally introduced her to. She would laugh while looking at her phone and put it away quickly when I walked into the room. But hindsight is tricky. When you are inside the relationship, you justify things that seem obvious from the outside. If I learned anything from all this, it is to trust my gut. When someone makes you feel irrational for noticing the obvious, that is not love, that is manipulation. When your partner chooses someone else instead of protecting the relationship, it is actually already over. You just have not accepted it yet. Moving her things to the guest room was not revenge, it was self-preservation. It was my way of protecting myself before the situation destroyed me completely. What happened next were natural consequences. Justin lost his job. Megan lost the relationship and part of her professional reputation. They both lost the fantasy they thought they had. I lost 4 years and a few nights of sleep, but I kept my dignity, my home, and my peace of mind. To me, it was a fair trade. Comment. I just wanted to share how much this story hit home for me. Setting clear boundaries isn't about being harsh. It's about protecting your peace. I've learned that respecting yourself means walking away when someone keeps crossing those lines. Taking responsibility for your own happiness can feel scary at first, but it opens the door to real healing. Kindness doesn't mean staying in a situation that hurts you. Choosing calm over chaos has brought me more joy than I expected. I hope you take a moment to think about where you might need to draw your own line. You're worthy of relationships that feel safe and mutual. Remember that moving forward with self-respect is one of the most powerful things you can do. Let's all keep choosing the kind of life that lets us breathe easier. If you liked it, don't forget to leave a comment and support the channel by subscribing. See you in the upcoming stories.